Good afternoon, Professor Marin. My name is Kelly Kendrick. I'm one of your students in Bio 240, Anatomy and Physiology Part 2. Today is Sunday, the 17th of June, and my assignment today was to talk about the digestive system and to talk about the process of digestion in my body if I were to imagine eating a cheeseburger. So, I want to talk to you first of all about the digestion process and what it is. Digestion is the breakdown of food particles, it's the absorption of nutrients, and it's the expelling of any indigestible food particles. That's all. That's all that digestion is, and it's a pretty lengthy process. There are 6 activities that occur during digestion. The first one is ingestion. The second one is motility. The third one is mechanical digestion. Fourth is chemical digestion. The fifth is absorption, and the sixth is defecation. So, what I'm thinking about eating today is an In-N-Out burger. And as I think about it and I get to the restaurant and I start to smell the food, I can already start to feel my digestive system start to kick in. So, our bodies when we start to smell that, our mouth starts to salivate. So, our mouth, tongue, and teeth are already going to start the initial part of digestion. So, as we salivate, that's producing chemicals and starting the chemical digestion portion and producing chemicals to assist in breaking down those food particles once we start eating them. So as I ingest my cheeseburger, I'm chewing, considered mastication, and my food goes now down into my pharynx and it's going to go through to my esophagus. So as it gets to the esophagus, we have the larynx that sits along kind of it sits close to the esophagus. You ever hear somebody say, oh, it went down the wrong pipe? A lot of times when you drink something really fast, sometimes it might go down into the larynx versus the esophagus. The epiglottis is a flap that actually will cover the larynx as you take a swallow of food. The esophagus then has a skeletal cartilage that assists in pushing food particles down towards the stomach. It's also lined with mucus and various cells covered in mucus to help with pushing food down into the stomach. It helps it move smoother. As your food gets to the stomach, so my stomach starts to churn. I'm starting to churn acids, or it has acid, hydrochloric acid, but it's starting to produce more acid. And as those food particles become mixed with the acid, it becomes chyme. So the stomach does a lot of the absorption process. It continues the absorption and breakdown of carbohydrates and fats as it works its way to the small intestine. So the stomach will push some of the chyme to the small intestine. And an interesting fact is that certain medications, as well as even alcohol, are absorbed through the stomach. So aspirin, alcohol, they're absorbed through the stomach. We encourage patients not to take NSAIDs for a particularly long period of time because NSAIDs can actually cause an ulcer. They can break down the lining of the stomach and contribute to ulcers. So moving on from the stomach, we go to the small intestine where most of your absorption is going to take place. In the small intestine, there are little kind of pockets that churn and move the food back and forth and can actually help with the most absorption to take place throughout this whole entire process. The small intestine also contains the jejunum, the duodenum, and the ileum. So actually the actual order of those are the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. So again, the chyme is being pushed through these areas of the small intestine, and now we move to the large intestine. So in the large intestine, this is where the food is going to be expelled, or the particles that are not absorbed throughout the body are going to be expelled. Here we have our colon, our rectum, and that's what's going to push the feces out. So in the large intestine, we have the goblet cells, which will help to assist pushing the feces to the rectum, and then that's when the defecation reflex is initiated. So there's also 3 very particular organs that contribute to the digestion process. So, first we have the liver, which produces bile. We have the gallbladder, which stores the bile. And then we have the pancreas, which also contributes to digestion by producing pancreatic, like carbohydrate rich juices, bicarb rich juices that help to kind of absorb some of the acid so it's not so strong in the system. But they mix together to also help with the absorption and the expelling of any non needed parts of food. So, this is basically my talk about the digestion process. I found it very fascinating. I really enjoy reading about it, and I hope that this helps you and I hope you like it. Thank you. Have a good night.